Thank you, Commission President Mohammed. I'm glad to be here. I'm an av geek, so this is the perfect place for me. Um, and the museum is looking forward to helping celebrate this fantastic anniversary. What a wonderful partnership. And like all partnerships, we share a little history. It all started about 125 years ago. There used to be a resort and race course called the Meadows. That was near the Duwamish River on wide open land that later became Boeing Field and King County International Airport. The Meadows had a mile-long racing track and bleachers for 10,000 people. Fans came there for horse races and automobile and motorcycle races. And then in 1910, they filled the stands to see Charles Hamilton, known as the Crazy Man of the Air, make Seattle's first public airplane flight. And only 6 years later, the Boeing Airplane Company started making planes in a former shipyard on the Duwamish, not very far from the Meadows. By the early 1920s, King County took an interest in developing the land by the Meadows as an airport. The county acquired the mushy floodplain, filled and leveled sinkholes with dirt dredged from the Duwamish, and Boeing acquired the land between the field and his factory from a civic-minded farmer for $1, finally giving room to expand and to link his plant to the runways. In 1928, the city built an air terminal there and christened the airport Boeing Field. It immediately became the hub of Seattle aviation and served young airlines like West Coast Air Transport, Pacific Air Transport, Varney Airlines, and United Aircraft and Transport, all of which eventually became United Airlines. Plus, it was the center of Boeing aircraft operations, and that changed everything when America entered World War II. Boeing Field was closed to civilian operations on December 6, 1941, so nothing could interfere with the bombers rolling off the assembly line at Boeing Plant 2. Civilian planes and operations moved to an airfield to the southwest that was being developed by the Port of Seattle, and they remained there for the duration of the war. Now, United and the smaller airlines briefly returned to Boeing Field after the war, but left for good when the port's Seattle-Tacoma International Airport officially opened in 1949. The rest of that story is something you'll learn a lot more about this year. Let's just say that both airports continue to develop in their own way. By the late 1970s, SEA was a bustling hub for airline travel, while King County still had room at its airport for more eclectic uses, like a museum. King County made a sweet lease deal with the Pacific Northwest Historical Aviation Foundation for some land on the west side of Boeing Field, at almost exactly the same spot where Charles Hamilton made that first Seattle airplane flight. The original Boeing plant, known as the Red Barn and unused for decades by that point, was moved there. The old Red Barn was restored, and it became the Museum of Flight, with room to grow. Now it is the world's largest independent aerospace museum. So, thanks SEA, because if it weren't for you, maybe Boeing Field would have gotten too big for even a small museum back then. And who knows what or where the Museum of Flight would be today. So we look forward to celebrating your anniversary with some special events, both here and there, and we'll partner in telling the story in new and surprising ways. So thank you again for allowing me to be here today.